So this is going to be a strange video, and I hope you can make it through it, but I'm just going to let you know I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get through this video myself. You're going to see two intros. I had multiple camera failures. I had to stop and do some things for my wife and kids and cook, and it ended up getting dark on me, and I changed my game plan on what I was going to do. But originally the video was going to be an install of the Hurd grill guard that you see here, but so I guess I'm going to turn it into a review as well as an install. So I've got it on. I've gone out and taken a test drive with it. The radar still works. This is on a 2023 Volvo VNL. So it seems like everything, all the safety features on the truck are still functional, and this bumper is compatible, even though it doesn't show that it's compatible on their website yet. Hopefully they will get that updated. I'm going to send some my findings back to them and let them know about the fitment and the performance of the vehicle with it installed. But anyway, fit and finish of the bumper is or the grill guard is pretty good. I'm going to kind of walk you around and just show you a couple of things that I've noticed. One thing is it's got a really, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but there's a really shiny spot here, and that really stands out when you're walking around the vehicle. So if anybody knows how to get rid of this real glossy spot, I would appreciate it. Overall, it looks pretty good. I feel like some of the welds are a little, kind of built up. The main welds are good in these areas. So these welds, all the good structural welds look good, but on this top hoop, I don't know if they had more amateur welders welding those or not, but they don't look like they penetrated very well, and this is more for aesthetics. Installing this thing, you can literally do it in 30 minutes to an hour if you've got a steel bumper on here. This one had the plastic. These panels were painted. What I did was I cut the panels out, and then I inserted the bars that they provide, and just tightened them down to the specified torque, and you're good to go. But cutting these panels out and getting them wrapped, because I wrapped them in vinyl, and I'm not the best wrapper by any stretch of the imagination, but I wrapped them completely in vinyl to just black the bumper out. And so so it's all blacked out under there now, and I think it looks pretty good. You don't hear it rattle. I tightened it up, and so there's no rattling. And to take it down, just a nice swift pull on that, and that's how you lower it. Here you can see a little close up how I did this. I've got pretty good clearance there, so I think we're going to be in good shape with this. Go over to the other side. But all in all, I think it turned out well. Looks pretty close to factory assembly. I think there's a video online of how to tighten the bumper, make it tighten it or loosen it based on how tight your latches are and how firm you want it to feel. I want it to be firm. I don't want any rattling. But to do it, right here's your adjuster. So you just adjust it on both sides, and just a little bit at a time, and that will tighten it or loosen it to your preference. But all in all, I think it's a good investment. Again, you can see here, it's easy to put up and take down, and I really think it adds a nice look to the truck as well. Pardon the mess, I've been servicing some equipment today. But so this is the Hurd bumper guard, and we'll get into the install video after this. And like I said, forgive me, but camera failures and many other issues, but hopefully we can get this thing posted. All right, guys, today we're going to be installing the grill guard on the Volvo. So I went ahead and pulled the packing off, but you can see what we've got here, and there's really not a lot to install in this thing. So we're going to do an install, and then Herd asked me to verify that it worked properly with the 2023 model. So we're going to check out the radar, make sure all that functions properly. You can see this is where the radar is on the truck, but yeah, there's not a lot to it. You can see this is all the hardware, and probably the most difficult thing is going to be, I want to make sure that when I cut these, that, you know, I do it in a manner where it looks right. So I'm hoping we'll slide this in, that I'm really just going to take a hole saw most likely and just drill a hole in this, and I think that'll probably be the cleanest look. So just want to make sure that get everything matching up and looking clean, and we're going to get started. So I went ahead and decided to do a dry fit, and I always like to do that. I thought I was going to be able to get by with the hole saw, but Herd provides some pretty good instructions. So you can see that, you know, I was thinking, okay, I can use a hole saw to go through my panel, and I could really leave that off, but I think it'll have a cleaner look to get rid of these if I go ahead and cut the panel. So there's a spacer in here, and then we've got that, and then we'll slide this on, and we'll tighten it up right there, but I'll get to that in just a few minutes as I kind of work my way through this and figure out how I'm going to cut this panel to where it looks clean. I can put it on there, and we'll have a nice clean install. So I'll get to working on that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've drawn out on the back of this panel essentially my starting hole, and what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and use the hole saw. I've taped the paint off and use the hole saw just to cut the inside of this out, and once I get the inside of it out, I will go over it with the jigsaw, and then I'll make my hole, you know, just kind of adjust as I need. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that, and we'll see how this goes. Okay, so I feel like I've done a pretty good job with this. For the first try, you can see that my hole is pretty well matched up. Got to take out some excess material here. Looking pretty good on the bottom. I want to straighten that cut up just a little bit, and I'm also going to allow a little bit of clearance, because I'm sure this thing is not going to stay dead still going down the road. So we're going to clean it up a little bit. Like I said, I cut this first with a just a hole saw, and then I took my jigsaw and went around it to get the hole cut out, and this is kind of what it looks like without that piece on there. So we're going to clean it up with the die grinder and see how this first side goes. All right, so I don't know if you guys are like me, but it seems like every time I start a project, things are going smoothly, and then something goes south. So I thought the worst thing I was going to have to do would be cut this out and get it cut out to match up. And so I went ahead, I got it cut out, and looks good. Everything's good. Got good margins all the way around. I'm going to work on this section here a little bit, because when I tighten it up, I think it's going to press in there. So I'm going to see how that works out. But I was going to do a preliminary, you know, kind of tighten it up to see how it works out. But when I went to put the nut on, couldn't get the nut to grab a thread. Well, then I pulled out the other one, and same thing, nut wouldn't grab a thread. So I mean, the quality of the bumper so far and everything looks good right now, but I'm a little disappointed that I've had to pull the grinder out, and I'm going to have to grind on both of these, which I've got this one taking a nut now, to get them to where they will accept a nut. So, I don't know. I would just appreciate it if Hurd would have at least checked to make sure a nut would work on these prior to sending it out. It looks like they've taken a piece of threaded rod and welded it into this bracket. And then they kind of, you know, ground it down to where they thought it would take a nut, but the nuts will not go on either one of these. So I'm having to do a little grinding. Once I get that done, we'll get back to work and I'll get this thing put on. Okay, so we're getting ready to install the driver's side. And I did something that I might end up regretting. But when I took it off, the pin supplied by Volvo was partially out. So you can see there I put a safety wire in there, so I'm going to safety wire it. I always carry tools with me. I know once I've tightened this nut up that it's going to put tension on that pin, but who knows, just in case. I don't want the pin to fall out and my bumper to fall off for some reason. So crazier things have happened. I know the chances of that happening are probably slim to none, but anyway. So one of the things I did is I cut out a couple of pieces of film and put that film around the hole just to kind of give it a more finished look, but also to protect the paint from rubbing, and I don't want it to start peeling off or chipping off because it's rubbing. So I lined it all around the inside, and hopefully that'll protect my paint and I won't have any issues down the road with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this side installed. This is to be installed to 240 foot-pounds. So I've got the torque wrench out, and we'll torque this down to 240 foot-pounds, and then we'll work on the passenger side next. So a lot of these steps I'm taking, you're not going to need to take if you've got the factory steel bumper. But I have these plastic inserts, so to get this to work, I'm going to have to obviously put the plastic insert on first. And by the way, made in the USA. Volvo trucks are assembled in the USA, and a lot of the parts are made in the USA, and this is one of the parts that's made in the USA. But so I was happy to see that rather than pulling this off and it being made in China. So we've got our spacer in there. This goes in this orientation with this down. Slide it in. The washer. These are lock nuts, and remember I had to grind this down, so I hate that I had to do that to get it to start. I wish that, like I said, they had checked from the factory to make sure. Let's see. Apparently, I didn't grind enough. I had it started earlier. Let's see if we've got it now. It's 27 millimeter. Let me find my other ratchet. Hold on one sec. Well, both ratchets I've got are deep well, so let me try this again. what happens when you video things. Because I had this on a minute ago without issue. Okay, we're making progress now. Time to get the torque wrench. Nico Pro off Amazon. Seems to work well. As I said before, we need to go to 240 foot-pounds. So there's 200, 240. Lock it in. Okay, so I'm glad that I went ahead and did this side first. I can already see that all the extra work I did is not going to work out right here. So, and I'd mentioned this before that I thought I was going to have an issue there. So it looks like I'm going to have to just cut this whole piece out and just notch it to where that'll go completely back in there. So we'll remove this. I hate to remove it with the because the nylock has already been compromised, but I'll go ahead and pull it out and re-notch that, and then we'll get it back on. Okay, so I've taken it off and I went ahead and put a notch in it, as you can see right here. And since I compromised the nylock, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of the blue Loctite just to, ensure that it doesn't come loose. So we're going to go ahead and give this another try and get it tightened up. I always start a nut by hand and hand tools before I pull out the impact. I think it greatly reduces your chances of cross threading. Okay. All right, so we've got the first side done, 240 foot-pounds. I see that it's going to rub right there. So I'm going to make the other one a little bit bigger. This is going to be something I'm going to have to monitor as time goes by to see how well this is working. But we're going to start working on the other one, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Okay guys, apparently this video doesn't want to be made, but I've had some camera problems. My wife came home, wanted me to grill burgers, so it's getting dark. Typical for me, just always trying to make the use of every minute. But I went ahead and cut this hole out a little bit bigger than what I had before because it just seemed like it was going to rub. So I've added a little extra clearance, and also decided to wrap this entire panel in the vinyl instead of just putting a little, you know, a little decorative ring around it. So I've wrapped the entire panel, and I've moved on to the next panel. Again, just I don't have anybody to hold the camera for me, so I marked the hole out, drilled it with a hole saw, used the jigsaw, and then took the die grinder and cleaned everything up to where it looks pretty decent. So now I'm going to go ahead and wrap this panel, and then we'll get this herd grill guard installed. Alright, so I put the heavy duty torque wrench away, and that's one way to ensure that I'm going to end up having to take these off one more time, because as soon as I put something away, I'm going to need it. But anyway, I've got the mounting brackets on. I've got both of the panels wrapped, and so you can see that. I think the second one, you know, I made it a little bit bigger to begin with, and you know, it always helps to have a okay, I just had another camera go bad, so you can probably tell by the footage this has been cut a lot. And as I said, as soon as I put the torque wrench up, I knew I was going to need it again. I left the washer out on this side, so I went to the high strength thread locker because I took that off 4 times, I think, maybe 3. All right, so we're at the moment of truth. We're going to go ahead and lift the grill guard on. So this is the grade 8 hardware that holds it on, and to do this right, you need to insert the bolt this way, so it needs to go facing the truck. And so we're going to go ahead and put it on. I've got an assistant here, and let's see if we can get this thing knocked out. Hey, you're not going to say anything, Vanna?
I thought you had it on pause.
Thought I had it on pause, huh? Then I thought I had it on pause. All right. So we're going to go up, put a bolt through here, and right in those holes. Okay.
This top one, right?
Yep. Hey, you're not supposed to let go, sister.
Just testing
There's no
it.
nut on there.
Just testing it.
Okay, no, we're not testing.
Okay.
We don't test. We got to put a nut on first. And a washer.
Don't forget the washer.
I've got this creepy guy that watches my channel. Don't be looking at my butt. You know who you are.
Which, okay, I don't know which way it goes.
You had it right.
This one?
No. You can't work in gloves like that, huh?
It's not installed.
So once we get it on, I'm going to latch this bumper and just check our height, because we can adjust the height. So
You just want it to start right.
let's get it all the way up to the 9 lock where it gets tight. Okay. All right, we're going to latch it, kind of see where we end up. Probably not going to latch very well. Just hold it right there if you will. Okay, so I think that's the right height. I like it. You see the Volvo logo, see the plate. So we're going to go with it. She let go again. All right. Now we're going to the bottom hole. Bolt, washer. Bolt goes toward the truck. Whoops. Let's see here. Got to put a washer on the back too.
I gotta raise my side up.
Okay, hold on 1 second. You got a bolt on that. Did you put the washer on back here?
Yeah, I did.
This is the one that was off. Where'd that hammer go? Pull the bumper out just a little bit, you know. Down. Where's your nut?
You didn't hand it to me. Second one, in the washer. You got the washer on the back.
Alright. Okay. Maybe. So this first trip around, we're just like loosely tightening these. So then we'll go back and torque them down, tighten them all up. So brings up. Gotta go grab a universal and an extension. Wrench over there. Still just snugging them down. Go and get this one. All right, we've got them all snugged down. So what the instructions say to do next. Okay. All right, we're ready to torque them at 110 foot-pounds. I'll grab the wrench. Okay, so we got our torque wrench out, and we're going to go ahead and torque these to 110 foot-pounds. I know I'm torquing it from the bolt side, but I don't really have an option, so I hope they took it into consideration when they chose the 110 foot-pounds. I've already torqued that top one. Had to go back and get some more tools. So we got to adjust the hinges next, but they recommend retorquing after 5,000 kilometers or every 3 to 6 months on this hardware. But go ahead and close it up. So I've got a little play there. I'm going to read the instructions. We'll see how to adjust this hinge. I'm going to get that play out of there so this thing's firmed up, but I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm out in the Volvo VNL, and we're testing the adaptive cruise control and the radar after installing the new Hurd grill guard. So I've got the cruise set on 73, and let's drop in behind this guy here and see what happens, see if our radar is functioning properly, this adaptive cruise control. Looks like we've got the distance alert coming up as normal. The truck's slowing down to the appropriate speed. Now let's pull back out. Let's see how long it takes it to come up to speed. All right, so back to accelerating, and so it looks like the radar is functional with this grill guard, and so I think you can rest assured that the 2023 Volvo VNL will be compatible with the Hurd grill guard. Hope you guys find this helpful.